In the quiet rural town of Harper's Creek, nestled in the verdant valleys of Vermont, life was serene and predictable. The town was renowned for its traditional annual fall festival, a showcase of the town's commitment to its roots and love for community. However, an unexpected event would soon turn this peaceful idyll into a chaotic nightmare. It started when the local veterinarian, Dr. Nancy Simmons, began noticing a strange affliction in the animals she treated. They exhibited symptoms of aggression, confusion, and a terrifyingly insatiable hunger. Despite her best efforts, she couldn't figure out what was causing it. But things took a darker turn when one of her patients, a usually docile golden retriever named Max, bit her. Days later, the mild-mannered Dr. Simmons started to exhibit the same symptoms as the animals she had been treating. She attacked her assistant, infecting him with whatever terrible disease had claimed her. The epidemic spread like wildfire, transforming the peaceful inhabitants of Harper's Creek into flesh-craving monstrosities that resembled zombies more than humans. News about the outbreak was slow to reach the outside world, but it wasn't long before Harper's Creek was sealed off, isolating its residents from the rest of civilization. The National Guard was called in, the perimeter barricaded, and the town was quarantined. However, inside the borders of Harper's Creek, a struggle for survival had already begun. The local high school history teacher, Mr. Thompson, a stout-hearted, pragmatic man, took charge. He gathered together the remaining uninfected townsfolk at the high school, barricading the doors and windows. His knowledge of historical sieges and warfare proved invaluable in fortifying their stronghold and organizing rationing and patrols. A band of survivors was formed: Maria, the town's mechanic, who turned the school's buses into armored vehicles; young Timmy, who used his knowledge of the local terrain from his days as a Boy Scout; and Emma, a former nurse who provided medical care to the wounded and uninfected. Despite their dire situation, the spirit of Harper's Creek lived on in its survivors. They held out hope, believing that a cure could be found. Ironically, it was the town's recluse and conspiracy theorist, Old Man Jenkins, who pointed them towards a possible solution. He had intercepted a military radio transmission revealing that Dr. Simmons' blood samples were being studied for a cure. With newfound hope, the group hatched a dangerous plan to break into the vet's office to recover more of Dr. Simmons' blood. They braved the horde of infected townsfolk, employing every tactic Mr. Thompson could devise: Maria's fortified buses, and Timmy's knowledge of secret paths. The mission was fraught with danger, but the group managed to obtain the needed samples after a harrowing encounter with the infected. The blood was hastily transported out of Harper's Creek by one of Maria's armored buses, driven by Timmy, who knew the surrounding woods like the back of his hand. Days turned into weeks, and the survivors held their ground, repelling wave after wave of their former friends and neighbors. The battle took its toll, dwindling their numbers, but their resolve remained unbroken. They kept their hope alive by listening in on Jenkins' radio, waiting for news of a cure. Finally, the awaited message arrived: a cure had been developed. The National Guard was instructed to move in with vaccination teams. When the news reached Harper's Creek, it was met with a mixture of relief and trepidation. The battle was not over yet. As the National Guard moved in, they found a town devastated but not defeated. More stories like this, follow the link in description.